Jordan Scott has committed to the Florida State Seminoles, 6'7" wide receiver. He's a JUCO that was originally committed to Arizona State. I was just looking at some of his film right before the show. At 215, give or take, this is a guy that is a mismatch problem. Yes, if you're thinking Johnny Wilson, you were smart to do so. He has a lot of Johnny Wilson qualities in terms of his style of play. The first play on his highlight reel is a ridiculous one-handed catch between two guys that he just stuck his hand out. It was a little bit too far away, but his length, natural athleticism, and hand-eye coordination allowed Jordan Scott to make the play. I wouldn't say he's a true burner, but he could run pretty well. And most importantly, he's competitive and willing to play in the middle of the field even when he's going to get hit. The third play, I believe it was on his film, he runs a slant, gets hit at the goal line, and continues on and scores. If he's physical like that, and he's a big guy, he has a chance to be a really good player at Florida State. He's going to have a couple of years of eligibility, and at 6'7", 215, this is a guy that Florida State can use almost like a tight end. And you add him to Amari Williams, Landon Thomas, Hakeem Williams. The size for the Noles at receiver and tight end should be a big-time addition to what they can do moving forward, because Luke can throw the deep ball. Now you're going to have so many options in the red zone for fades. You might even see a little bit of that in the Florida State-Florida game. But having one that's 6'7" at receiver is not common. Johnny Wilson was a rare player. And I'm not saying Jordan's going to have that same kind of success, but physically in the film, just proves it. He can do those things. Now it comes down to route running, being a willing blocker, being a willing player to not always be the feature player. Like at Florida State, you're going to be playing with other good receivers. They got plenty like in their freshman class, like B.J. Gibson, Wayne McCoy, etc., Elijah Moore, whatever you wanted, Fryer, just those guys. That's four really good football players. You're going to have to share the ball. How good of a teammate is he? All those things play into it too. But physically, I'm very excited to see what Jordan Scott can do, and I'm curious. I don't know if he's going to be in spring ball, if he's got to go through spring to graduate from the school he's at. He's at Southwest Mississippi Community College. I don't know, but I do know this. If you get him on campus and he gets acclimated with Luke next season, that's a guy that can score a lot of touchdowns. So Florida State fans should be very happy about that. By the way, stealing him away from Arizona State wouldn't normally be all that great of a deal, but Arizona State's program is on the rise, and they're pretty good. By the way, it's the same school Johnny Wilson came from, so when he transferred to FSU. Last thing on recruiting, Jesse Harold is taking the visit. I mentioned that on yesterday's recruiting pod. Make sure if you want a rundown of recruiting, check out the Thursday show on Locked On Seminoles. It is very, very much an intuitive thing, or it's just listening to names. Here's visiting. Here's why. It's pretty straightforward. But at the same time, that's an interesting guy. He decommitted from LSU. I did not know that at that time, but I did the pod yesterday. So not only do the Noles get Jordan Scott, they're getting a guy possibly on campus this weekend that they should flip. Most people think that he will. He's from Gaither High School in Tampa, Florida. Long lead edge rusher. That's a really good sign for Florida State. They need defensive linemen. That would be a big pickup. Please make sure you like and subscribe to this podcast. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. And once again, make sure you share this podcast. I'd love to get in front of as many Florida State fans as possible. It's a lot of fun doing this pod. And we're getting ready to go into the signing day week. We're getting ready to go into the transfer portal. I'm going to have so many different profiles coming up. It's not even funny. And we will do a live show after the Florida State-Florida game, talk about what happened. That will be on Saturday, obviously. Curious to see how that game goes. But thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen. Everybody have a good one, and I will see you again on Saturday.